What's up, guys? It's your girl Kia, and I am back for another video. I always say this. I know you guys are tired of hearing this, but I'm going to get more consistent with doing videos. So today's video is going to be about the recent interview on the Dear Wifey podcast with Jax'n. And most people may not know this, but most people probably do, is that she's the still wife of influencer, relationship guru, Derrick Jax'n. I feel really iffy about calling him a relationship guru, especially after all of this. And this video is not going to be about so much about Danae's Jax'n interview, but more about Derrick Jax'n and how he still has a following. And I'm completely confused by it. You know, this man for years has been telling women who they should date, how they should feel about themselves, the level they should hold themselves to, the high standards they should always, try to reach, and how they should not feel bad about trying to reach high standards for a man, and always don't let him cheat on you, don't let him treat you like garbage, you are a queen, you are this, you are that. When come to find out, the woman in his own life who has been ride or die for him since he was 19, since they were both 19, has been cheating on her relentlessly. And I know everybody's like, oh, everybody on YouTube is trying to make content and saying all these dramatic words like relentlessly. According to him and her, by her testimony, of course, it has been relentlessly. Over 100 people since they've been together. She's in her early 30s now, and they got together when they were 19. So that, to me, over 100 women, it's relentless. I'm sorry, I have to use that word. But what confuses me the most is that he still has a large following. There's still women and men who follow him, who look to him for advice. He doesn't do YouTube videos as much anymore. He's done what a lot of creators have done, that switched over to TikTok and doing TikTok videos, but he's still giving the same advice. And to me, it makes me look at him and go, the audacity of you to still be giving women relationships advice when you are the biggest relationship problem I've ever heard of in my life. I mean, if no one has watched Danae Jax'n's interview on the Dear Wifey podcast, you need to go watch it. It's very eye-opening. I still think she's had problematic issues over this entire thing. She's done some really iffy things. But when you are in such a precarious situation with a man, I will give you some grace about things that you said. She did read some verses that were basically saying that all of our children should die. And I know that this is Bible scripture, Old Testament kind of wrath and fire, but it was still a little aggressive for her to tell people that. But she went through a lot, and when she's going through her story and everything she'd been through, the abandonment of her father, a sexual assault, and I know you can't say that on YouTube anymore, but that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes. And she's going through all these things, and she still stuck by him. She still wanted to be with him. She still wanted to support him and be in his corner. And after a while, it seems like she just forgot about herself. And Derrick, you tell women not to do that and to hold themselves to another standard, but you didn't pick up your wife when she was starting to... Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm thinking through this with you guys, but I'm very confused by it. You preach this whole thing about how women should feel and how they're queens, but the woman who is closest to you, who has bore you children, you don't see that she's having this awful feeling about herself, that she's trying to morph herself into somebody she doesn't recognize for you. And you tell women not to do that, to let a man love you where you are. But you didn't love her where she... do you guys see where I'm coming from with this? Why it's so confusing with this Derrick Jax'n situation? It always made me feel weird about it in the first place, because he seemed like a sexy, flexy Negro who really couldn't do anything else. He just knew he was sexy, flexy, and that women would want to watch him on YouTube, because YouTube is a visual platform, and he is attractive. He knew that women would want to watch him, and he knew women are always looking for someone to validate them, love them, respect them, appreciate them. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying in a... he's kind of predatory way. And I don't like throwing the word predatory out there, but that's what it seems in hindsight. When you think about all the videos and the multiple books and, How to Love You Past Your Pain and all those books he put out, was he just playing to Black women's insecurities? Because he definitely wasn't practicing what he preached. He definitely wasn't preaching from a standpoint of a man who... it has been a good husband but seen other people, and from hindsight, he's definitely not talking like a man who's gone through therapy and be able to come out the other side, because he's still in it. He's still, up until I want to say 2021, up until she found out that day where that weird video came out with the with the Salvation of Christ bonnet and the sweater, which come to find out she was pregnant in that video, which is why she probably looks so, different. I've been pregnant, I get it. But he was cheating 3 days before that. So you never learned the lessons that you've been preaching, And I know a lot of podcasters have said this, but as somebody who's Christian, there is nothing worse than a Christian F-boy. It is the worst thing in the world. I would take a thug F-boy, a drug dealer F-boy, a white F-boy, I still love my mama F-boy over a Christian F-boy, because they play with your emotions and they use spirituality to do it. And it's highly offensive and frustrating. I just think they're the most predatory. And again, I keep using these big words because that is really what Derrick Jax'n sees. He seems like a predator to me. He does. And this is based off of his actions and the books he wrote. This is not like, oh, the girl he cheated on her with is now coming out saying, oh, he did me wrong. He said he was going to marry me. No. Derrick Jax'n wrote these books. Then Derrick Jax'n cheated on his wife multiple times, which he told us about. Then Derrick Jax'n divorced her, said he wanted a divorce through text message. The mother of your children. You're telling us this stuff. And I don't know. I guess I want to hear other people's thoughts about, well, let me talk about Danae a little bit. I feel like Danae has taken religion and turned it into this weird sword and shield. And I know you want to let the Bible be your sword and shield. I'm Christian. I get it. But it's almost like she's using it as a weird cloak or a shell to protect her rather than facing what she needs to face from a therapy standpoint along with her faith. And I almost want to say that her religion and her religious mindset seems a little bit toxic to me. That every sentence is the God's working on me, and God this and Jesus that, and the Lord works and this and that, and I saw my daughter levitating over the bed and demons and spirits. It's like, girl, I'm religious too. I came from a religious family. My father is a deacon, and my mom's side hustle is helping new churches get off the ground as their business manager. So I get it. You can get into Jesus. I got it. I get it. But what she's saying to me just seemed a little bit like you have buried yourself so deep in religion because you don't know who you're going to be without it. And that is a scary place to be. I don't know how I would feel about being there, and if I would be able to. If I only lived my life by the Bible 100%, 1000% day to day, I don't know how I would handle the world, because the world is not in the Bible. The world is earthly. There are people walking around in the world who don't give a damn about your faith. Just like Derrick Jax'n didn't give a damn about her faith and did what he did and did not respect it at all whatsoever. So I don't know how I would be able to maneuver if that was my mindset, and that seems to be only her mindset, But I will give her a little bit of grace, because we never knew how articulate she was. She's very smart. She's very articulate. You can definitely tell that. What am I sitting on? Jeez. She's very smart and she's very articulate. She was able to voice their history very clearly, her feelings, where she is now, what she's doing, her mindset. And I appreciate being able to hear her instead of having her scream at me from her YouTube channel about how we're wicked and of the world and, don't tell lies against her and this and that. I appreciate just hearing her speak. I also want to give a shout out to the Dear Wifey podcast. And this one thing is that really got to me that I appreciated. And a lot of people didn't think it was a big deal probably. But the fact that they wanted to actually give Danae a makeup artist and make her feel good and show her how beautiful she is, because she is a beautiful woman and she looked great. She looked happy. She looked healthy. She looked like she is trying to get through what he put her through. But I can still see that there's a little bit of work there. But I'm interested in hearing more on you guys' thoughts. Drop down the comments, like and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully now with my new setup and my fancy camera and everything, still my same cell phone, that I'll be able to bring you guys more content at least once a week. Is my goal, is to bring you content once a week from a different perspective. So yeah, let's start talking. And I honestly, guys, I don't want to so much hear about Danae Jax'n's interview as I do want to hear about your thoughts about Derrick Jax'n still putting out the same content, even though he is an admitted adulterer And you get the term adulterer when you cheat nonstop in your marriage. That's when you're an adulterer. You cheat once, you cheated once. When you're cheating consistently, you're an adulterer. That's just my thoughts. See you in the next video.